The
Keep
child
us
stopped
secure,
breathing.
vitals. BP is
Amara's
dropping,
gloved
starting
hands
thrusters.
froze for
Good.
half a
Watch the
second
stats.
before instinct
Understood.
took
Keep
over.
monitoring.
Crash cart. Now, she shouted across the emergency room. The boy on the stretcher looked no older than 8. His skin was pale, his chest barely moving. Monitors screamed in sharp, frantic beeps as nurses rushed around the bed. A woman who had carried him in was crying uncontrollably. Please save him. Please, he's all he has. Amara didn't ask questions. She pressed 2 fingers to the boy's neck. Weak pulse. His airway is collapsing, she said quickly. Prepare oxygen. A doctor nearby hesitated. We don't even know who this patient is. Amara cut him off. A child is dying. That's all we need to know. She leaned over the boy, steady and focused. Hey, stay with me, okay? You're going to be fine. The boy didn't respond. His pulse dropped again. Charge the defibrillator, Amara ordered. The woman gasped. No, no, please. Amara looked up at her gently. If we don't act now, he won't make it. The machine charged with a sharp electronic whine. Everyone held their breath. Clear. The boy's body jerked. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, beep, beep, beep. The monitor steadied. The room erupted with relieved voices. Amara finally exhaled. He's stable, she said softly. But the relief lasted only a few seconds. The emergency room doors slammed open. Heavy footsteps echoed through the hallway. Men in black suits rushed inside, their expressions cold and intense. Several nurses stepped back instantly. Even the doctors went silent. Behind the men walked someone who changed the entire atmosphere of the room. Kong Min-jae. Everyone in Seoul knew his name. Not because he was famous, because he was feared. The most powerful mafia boss in the city stood quietly at the foot of the hospital bed. His eyes moved slowly to the boy, then to Amara. One of the suited men spoke urgently. Boss, we found him just in time. The crying woman wiped her tears and bowed repeatedly. I'm sorry. I tried to bring him here as fast as I could. Amara looked confused. Wait, she said slowly. This is your child? No one answered her. Instead, every staff member looked terrified. One of the doctors whispered nervously. Nurse, do you know who that is? Amara shook her head. The doctor leaned closer. That's Kong Min-jae. The name meant nothing to her. But the fear in the doctor's voice told her everything. Kong Min-jae stepped forward. His gaze rested on the unconscious boy. My son, he said quietly. The room became completely silent. Amara blinked in surprise. She hadn't expected that. For a moment, she simply studied the man. He looked calm. Too calm. But his eyes held something deeper. Fear. Real fear. The kind only a parent has when their child might die. Amara spoke carefully. He's stable now, but he needs observation. Kong Min-jae looked at her. You saved him? Amara nodded slightly. We all worked together. The mafia boss glanced at the other doctors. None of them spoke. One nurse whispered quickly. It was her. She took control when his heart stopped. Kong Min-jae's attention returned to Amara. The silence stretched. Then something unexpected happened. He bowed his head slightly. Thank you. The entire room looked stunned. No one had ever seen Kong Min-jae thank anyone before. Amara felt awkward. I was just doing my job. His voice remained calm. Most people are too afraid to do their job when my family is involved. Amara shrugged. A child needed help. That's all I saw. For the first time, something almost like respect crossed his face. The boy suddenly stirred weakly. Dad. Kong Min-jae instantly moved closer. I'm here, he said softly. The boy blinked tiredly. Amara smiled gently. Hey there, brave one. You gave us a scare. The boy's small hand grabbed Kong Min-jae's sleeve. Don't leave. I won't. Amara stepped back to give them space. But she could still feel Kong Min-jae watching her. Minutes later, the hospital director rushed into the room. He bowed nervously to the mafia boss. Mr. Kong, please accept our apologies for the chaos. There is no problem, Kong Min-jae said calmly. The director quickly turned to Amara. Nurse Amara, come with me. She followed him into the hallway. The director looked pale. Do you understand who that man is? Apparently someone very powerful, Amara replied. Powerful? The director laughed nervously. He controls half the criminal networks in this city. Amara raised an eyebrow. And you just ordered his entire medical team around like they were interns. She crossed her arms. Would you rather the child die? The director sighed. No, you did the right thing. Behind them, the hospital doors opened again. Kong Min-jae walked out. Everyone in the hallway froze. His gaze landed directly on Amara. Nurse. She turned. Yes. My son wants to see you when he wakes. That's normal. Patients often connect with the person who helped them. Kong Min-jae studied her again. You are not afraid of me. Amara shrugged casually. I've seen worse in emergency rooms. For a brief moment, Kong Min-jae looked amused. Before leaving, he said quietly, we will meet again. Then he walked away with his men. The hallway slowly came back to life. Amara exhaled and shook her head. Strangest shift I've ever had. She didn't realize something important. From the hospital entrance, Kong Min-jae stopped walking. He looked back once at her and said quietly to his bodyguard, find out everything about that nurse. If you're enjoying this intense story so far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment where you're watching from. Trust me, what happens next will change Amara's life forever, because saving the boy was only the beginning. 2 nights later, Amara was walking home after her shift when she noticed something strange. A black car parked across the street, and inside it, 2 men watching her. Her instincts immediately sharpened. Something was very wrong, and she had no idea. The most dangerous chapter of her life had just begun. Amara slowed her steps. The black car across the street didn't move, but the 2 men inside were clearly watching her. One of them lifted a phone, speaking quietly while keeping his eyes on her. A cold feeling crept down her spine. She turned the corner toward her apartment building, pretending she hadn't noticed. Her mind raced. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe she was overthinking. But the sound of a car door opening behind her told her she wasn't. Footsteps followed. Miss Amara. She turned slowly. 2 men approached her. They weren't the same men from the car. These ones looked rougher, harder, and the way they stood told her they weren't here for a friendly conversation. What do you want? She asked calmly. One of them smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. You saved a very important boy. Amara felt her stomach tighten. I save lots of people. The second man stepped closer. This one belongs to Kong Min-jae. The way he said the name made it clear they weren't fans. Amara crossed her arms. If you're looking for medical advice, make an appointment. The men laughed. You're funny, the first one said. Then his expression turned cold. Our boss wants to meet you. Amara shook her head immediately. I'm not interested. The man's smile disappeared. That wasn't a request. He grabbed her arm suddenly. Amara reacted instantly, trying to pull away. Let go of me. The second man moved to block her path. Don't make this difficult. Before they could drag her toward the car, headlights flooded the street. 3 black SUVs screeched to a stop. Doors burst open. Men in black suits jumped out. The atmosphere changed instantly. The 2 men holding Amara froze. One of them cursed under his breath. Damn it. A tall bodyguard stepped forward. His voice was calm, but dangerous. Release her. The 2 men hesitated. Or what? One of them snapped. The bodyguard didn't answer. Instead, 10 more suited men stepped forward behind him. That was answer enough. The attackers quickly let go of Amara and backed away. This isn't over, one of them muttered before running back to their car. Within seconds, they were gone. The street became quiet again. Amara stood there, confused and shaken. The tall bodyguard approached her respectfully. Nurse Amara. She frowned. Who are you people? Before he could answer, another car door opened slowly. A familiar figure stepped out. Kong Min-jae. He walked toward her calmly, his expression unreadable. Amara stared at him. Were those men just trying to kidnap me? Yes. Her eyes widened. And you say that like it's normal. For my world, it is. She took a step closer, frustration rising. Why are they after me? Kong Min-jae answered without hesitation. Because you saved my son. That makes no sense. In my world, it does, he said quietly. My enemies look for weaknesses. Amara understood immediately. And now they think I'm one of them. Yes. She let out a breath of disbelief. So, basically, saving your son just made my life dangerous. Kong Min-jae didn't deny it. For that, I apologize. Amara stared at him. Apologize? Yes. That doesn't fix the problem. I know. He gestured slightly. My men will protect you. She shook her head instantly. No. I don't want bodyguards following me everywhere. That is not optional. Her eyes flashed with anger. You don't get to control my life. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Kong Min-jae said quietly, my enemies already made that decision tonight. Amara looked away. She hated that he was right. After a moment she sighed. So what happens now? My son is asking for you. She blinked. What? He refuses treatment from anyone else. That's normal after a traumatic event. He refuses to speak unless you are there. Amara hesitated. He's just scared. Yes. Kang Min-jae looked directly at her. I would like you to become his private nurse. Amara stared at him like he had lost his mind. Absolutely not. You will be compensated generously. I don't care about money. His voice remained calm. My son trusts you. That doesn't mean I'm moving into some mafia mansion. I am not asking you to move in. She crossed her arms. What exactly are you asking? Spend time with him. Monitor his recovery. Help him feel safe. Amara hesitated. Images of the frightened boy flashed in her mind. Just temporarily, Kang Min-jae added quietly. She studied him carefully. For the first time she noticed something surprising. Despite his reputation, he looked like a worried father. Not a monster. How long? She asked. Until he recovers. She sighed heavily. This is a bad idea. Yes, Kang Min-jae agreed. But it may also save his life. Amara rubbed her forehead. You're very manipulative, you know that? So I've been told. She looked up at him again. If I do this, I make my own decisions. Of course. And if I feel unsafe, I leave. That will not happen. You can't promise that. Kang Min-jae paused. Then he said something honest. No, I cannot. The honesty surprised her. After a long moment, Amara sighed. Fine. Relief flickered across his face. But if this turns into some mafia drama, she warned, I'm out. Kang Min-jae nodded. Understood. As they walked toward the car, Amara muttered, I can't believe I just agreed to work for a mafia boss. Behind them, the tall bodyguard smiled slightly. You get used to it. Amara looked at him sharply. I doubt that. What she didn't know was that things were about to become far more dangerous. Because somewhere across the city, a rival gang leader slammed his fist on a table. So the nurse survived? One of his men nodded nervously. Yes. The man's eyes darkened. Interesting. He leaned back slowly. If Kang Min-jae cares enough to protect her. A cruel smile spread across his face. Then she must be very important. And in the dangerous world of the mafia, important people became targets. If this story is getting intense, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me what you think Kang Min-jae will do next. Because the next chapter changes everything. The enemies of Kang Min-jae were no longer watching Amara. They were planning something far worse. And soon, she would disappear. The mansion was quieter than Amara expected. She stood at the entrance, looking around in disbelief. The place was huge, but strangely calm. No shouting, no chaos. Just silent guards and the faint sound of footsteps in distant hallways. A young boy's voice suddenly echoed from the living room. Is she here? Amara turned. The boy from the hospital ran toward her. His face lit up immediately. You came. Amara smiled warmly and knelt down. Hey, brave one. How are you feeling today? I'm better, he said proudly. Dad said you saved me. Amara glanced at Kang Min-jae, who stood a few feet away watching them. I just helped, she replied gently. The boy grabbed her hand. Stay here with me. Amara laughed softly. Only if you promise to keep getting stronger. I will. From that moment, the atmosphere in the mansion slowly changed. Amara spent hours with the boy every day. She helped him with his medication, played games with him, and even helped him with schoolwork. At first, the guards watched her cautiously. But soon they began to respect her. Because for the first time in years, the boy was laughing again. One evening, Amara walked into the kitchen to get water when Kang Min-jae entered quietly behind her. You have done something no doctor has managed to do, he said. Amara looked over her shoulder. Which is? You made him smile again. She shrugged. Kids just need someone to listen to them. Kang Min-jae studied her carefully. You treat him like he is normal. He is normal, Amara replied. He is the son of a mafia boss. That's your world, she said calmly. Not his. For a moment, Kang Min-jae didn't speak. Then he said quietly, You are very different from the people around me. Amara raised an eyebrow. That's because the people around you are criminals. To her surprise, he chuckled softly. You are not afraid to insult me. You hired me to be honest. That night, something shifted between them. But peace never lasted long in Kang Min-jae's world. 2 days later, Amara finished her shift at the mansion and stepped outside. A car was waiting to take her home. She opened the door, and suddenly a hand covered her mouth. Don't scream. Her eyes widened in terror as two men dragged her into the back seat of another car. The door slammed shut. The car sped away. Amara struggled violently. "Let me go." One of the men smirked. "Relax. Our boss just wants to talk." Across the city, Kang Min-jae was sitting in his office when his phone rang. His bodyguard answered first. Within seconds, the man's face turned pale. "Boss." Kang Min-jae looked up slowly. "What happened?" "The nurse." The room suddenly felt colder. "She's been taken." The silence that followed was terrifying. "Who?" Kang Min-jae asked quietly. The bodyguard swallowed. "Ryu Takeda." Everyone in the room reacted instantly. Ryu Takeda was one of the most dangerous crime bosses in the region, and Kang Min-jae's biggest enemy. A phone on the desk suddenly buzzed. Kang Min-jae picked it up. A voice laughed on the other end. "Hello, Min-jae." "Ryu, I see the little nurse means something to you." Kang Min-jae's voice remained calm. "What do you want?" "Oh, nothing complicated," Ryu replied. "Just your territory in Busan." "That is not happening." "Then the nurse dies." The line went silent. Every guard in the room waited for Kang Min-jae to speak. Finally, he stood up. "Prepare the cars." One of the men hesitated. "Boss, it could be a trap." "It is a trap," Kang Min-jae said calmly. "But we are going anyway." Meanwhile, Amara sat tied to a chair inside an abandoned warehouse. Ryu Takeda walked slowly around her. "So this is the famous nurse." Amara glared at him. "You're making a huge mistake." Ryu laughed. "No, your Mafia boyfriend made the mistake. He's not my." The warehouse doors suddenly exploded open. Gunshots echoed through the building. Men shouted as Kang Min-jae's guards stormed inside. Chaos erupted everywhere. Ryu cursed. "So predictable." Kang Min-jae walked into the warehouse through the smoke. His expression was colder than Amara had ever seen. "Release her," he said. Ryu smirked. "You came alone?" "Yes." "Interesting." Ryu pulled a gun and pointed it directly at Amara. "Then maybe I should kill her first." Before he could pull the trigger, a shot rang out. Ryu's gun flew from his hand. Kang Min-jae's guards rushed forward, overpowering the remaining attackers. Within seconds, the fight was over. Kang Min-jae walked straight to Amara and cut the ropes around her wrists. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head slowly, still shocked. "You came." "Of course. You could have started a war tonight." "I already did." Amara stared at him. "Why would you risk everything for me?" Kang Min-jae paused. Then he said something no one in the room expected. "Because you saved my son." He looked at her again. "And because somewhere along the way." His voice softened slightly. "You became important to me too." For once, Amara had no response. Hours later, they stood outside the warehouse as the police sirens approached in the distance. Amara turned to him. "Your world is insane." "Yes." "And dangerous." "Yes." She looked directly into his eyes. "Then why do I feel like walking away would be harder?" Kang Min-jae didn't answer immediately. Finally, he said quietly, "Because you see the man behind the monster." Amara sighed. "Your son still needs a nurse. And I still need someone brave enough to tell me when I'm wrong." A small smile appeared on her face. "Well, you'll definitely get that." If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts below. And tell me in the comments, do you think Amara should stay in Kang Min-jae's dangerous world? Or walk away before it's too late?